Bombshell news from the Daily Beast came out about Herschel Walker, who's running for Senate in Georgia. According to the report, Herschel Walker paid a woman that he was dating to have an abortion almost a decade ago, and it contained a copy of the card but not the abortion clinic receipt or the personal check. The outlet claimed that the woman is a registered Democrat who still communicates with Walker, and that one of Walker's top surrogates has repeatedly asked her if she would vouch for his character. Yikes. Regardless of whether this report is true or not, when I first saw this report, my instant reaction was, wow, okay, Walker would likely lose a lot of voters as a result of this. But is that really the case now? We'll get into that a little later, but take a look at how Walker denies the allegation.
It's sort of like everyone is anonymous or everyone is leaking and they want you to confess to something you have no clue about, but it just shows how desperate they are right now. They see me as a big threat, and I know that, and I knew it when I got into this race, but they don't realize that I think they came for the wrong one. They energized me.
Huh? Okay, let's say the allegation was completely false. Still, that response from Walker seems incredibly unconvincing. If the report were true, the best approach would have actually been for Walker to admit it occurred, but that he had changed his ways. There are numerous politicians that go this route to avoid their history, and usually 99% of the time, they end up being fine. If Walker did go this route, there's no doubt that Walker would have still had the support of pro-lifers. It's probably too late for this, as the candidate claimed that the Daily Beast story is a lie and has threatened to sue the Daily Beast. People will say, oh no, it'll make him look weak. No, it doesn't. No, it takes strength to admit personal failure, and one imagines it's more difficult to do that in public. It also doesn't keep people guessing, and in this case, it may have well been said. Granted, when you take a look at who Walker really needs to appeal to the most, that is largely Christian, pro-life Republicans. If he can appeal to that group the most, he has a good chance and shot of winning the Senate election. This allegation has the potential to dissuade Christian women who are already skeptical of Walker and his past allegations of domestic violence and abuse. It doesn't follow, of course, that they would start voting for Warnock after seeing this allegation occur, but the allegations might be so great that they might as well sit this race out. Warnock's strategy is pretty sneaky, but it's not a secret. They're not trying to get people to vote for Warnock or against Walker. They're trying to get voters to just not vote in that race at all. Warnock thinks that all the Democrats will vote for him, that all the pro-choice voters will vote for him. He wants the pro-lifers to just pass the race by and to move on to Brian Kemp. He also wants independent voters to pass over Walker too. Thus, a certain sliver of the voter base will likely try to wash its hands full over this Senate race in Georgia, which could affect Walker's performance. Of course, Warnock knows that he also has his fair share of allegations, but given that the allegations over Walker have been the most talked about thing in the Georgia Senate race, it's not a surprise that Warnock's strategy is to focus on Walker's past history rather than policy. While the talk behind abortion has calmed down over the past few months, abortion still remains as a top issue for voters and will be somewhat influential, though not as influential as many political analysts initially thought. Now, this sounds like a pretty solid case for why Walker would be affected by these abortion allegations, but it now turns out that it may not affect the Senate race at all. Honestly speaking, it might be another useless political allegation that doesn't stick. Polling suggests that this is the case. A new Quinnipiac poll found that Warnock leads Walker 52% to 45%. This is nearly identical to another polling conducted by Quinnipiac, where Warnock led Walker 52% to 46%, with the margin of error being around 2.9%, give or take. The most recent Trafalgar poll a few days ago showed Warnock up by 1 compared to their previous poll in late August, where Walker was up. This phenomenon is quite simple. Walker will still maintain strong Republican support, since Warnock just seems far more of a pro-choice candidate. A majority of Republican voters are likely to trust him on the issue of abortion due to the fact that he's been openly pro-life, despite hearing about what Walker did 10 to 15 years ago? Doesn't it matter more to Republican voters that Walker will get the policies that he openly supports passed in the Senate? As pro-lifers see it today, congressional Democrats are one Senate seat and a continued House majority away from implementing a policy. unlimited taxpayer funding of elective abortions for Medicaid that will cost 60,000 abortions to occur each year. Many will therefore justify a vote for Walker in order to prevent an additional 60,000 abortions. Even then, voters are not sure whether or not the allegations will be fake or true. As far as we know, Walker could be telling the truth that in fact this incident didn't happen. Republican voters are just unlikely to believe the allegations either way. Walker's goal is to stick to policy, such as crime and the economy, where Republicans know that they have an advantage in. Combined with his celebrity status as a football player, I don't see why Walker doesn't have a chance to make real noise in the Senate. By the way, interestingly enough, Walker's opponent Raphael Warnock has not campaigned with Joe Biden in Georgia. Weird, right? I mean, you'd expect Biden to support a Democrat candidate in a key swing state. Why isn't he doing that then? I explain why in this video over here. And of course, if you liked the video, please consider subscribing and liking. As always, guys, peace.